everyone, welcome back to our fun and informative science channel. Dear friends, the Moon is Earth's only natural satellite and also the closest celestial body to us in space. This is also the only place beyond Earth that humans have set foot on. In 1969, when the Apollo 11 spacecraft successfully landed on the Moon, Neil Armstrong was the first person to step out of the spacecraft. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. From that point until the end of 1972, a total of 12 American astronauts in the Apollo program set foot on the Moon. But the strange thing is that from that last time until now, 50 years have passed, and humanity has not had another person set foot on the Moon. However, this may not last much longer, as many countries are planning to return to the Moon in the not-too-distant future. So today, Talk 2 invites you to review the promising future plans for conquering the Moon. Let's go explore the world together. Going back half a century, when the Soviet Union and the United States were locked in a fierce race to conquer space in order to assert their supremacy. At that time, the Soviet Union was the leading nation in space exploration missions. They were the first to successfully send a spacecraft to the Moon. In 1959, the Soviet Union's Luna 1 probe became the first artificial satellite to reach the vicinity of the Moon. Next, the Luna 2 spacecraft landed on the surface of the Moon. Luna 3 was the first spacecraft to successfully photograph and transmit images of the far side of the Moon. In 1966, the Soviet spacecraft Luna 9 became the world's first spacecraft to successfully land on the Moon. Subsequently, Luna 10 also became the first spacecraft to enter lunar orbit. With such significant advantages, it appeared that the Soviet Union had a favorable and overwhelming head start over the Americans. However, it is regrettable that to this day, they have not been able to send anyone to the Moon. For Americans, it's different. Although they had a slower start, they have successfully landed humans on the Moon multiple times. In 1969, Neil Armstrong was the first person to set foot on the Moon. Then, in just 4 years from 1969 to 1972, the United States successfully performed a total of 6 landings, putting 12 astronauts on the Moon. It is precisely these elements that have fueled conspiracy theories suggesting all of those operations were staged. Several famous books have been published that question the truth behind the American manned moon landings. Sharp arguments were put forward to substantiate that conspiracy theory. Over the past 50 years, these theories have garnered increasing attention and interest. To date, no country or organization has been able to replicate the achievement of landing humans on the Moon as the United States did. However, we won't have to wait much longer. The US, Russia, the UAE, and China are all nurturing plans to conquer the Moon in the future. So what are the specific plans for these missions? Let's explore them right now. Among the upcoming plans to conquer the Moon, Artemis is the most notable program. This is considered the first step in humanity's new era of exploration. In collaboration with domestic and international partners, NASA will establish a sustained human presence on the Moon to pave the way for missions to deeper space. In Greek mythology, Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo and the goddess of the Moon. The Apollo missions of the past succeeded far beyond even the initial expectations. Therefore, this time, NASA has decided to entrust its mission to the program named Artemis, with the hope that the goddess will bless humanity on its journey back to the Moon in 2024. This journey back to the Moon will not only put male astronauts on the surface of our celestial neighbor. Artemis will land the first woman on the Moon. This is not just an ordinary landing, it carries profound significance for the right to equality. Meanwhile, Mars remains NASA's long-term objective. However, exploring the entire surface of the Moon will still be their top priority. The starting point will likely be the Moon's south polar region, which is known to have water ice on its surface. It promises to become a valuable resource once humans set foot on the Moon. As a pioneering organization in the field of space science, they possess scientific technologies considered among the most advanced today. NASA stated that in this campaign to return to the Moon, they will use new technologies and systems to explore the Moon to an unprecedented extent. At the same time, they will also closely collaborate with commercial partners worldwide to build a solid foundation by 2028. This will be a solid foundation for them to go further, toward the ultimate goal of love. Recently, on April 16, 2021, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, officially confirmed they have selected SpaceX as the manufacturer of the lunar lander, returning astronauts to the Moon through the Artemis program. The contract is worth a massive amount, reaching approximately $2.9 billion. SpaceX, though a relatively young name in the field of space science. But with the achievements made in recent years, SpaceX has become the sole provider to meet NASA's stringent standards thanks to this achievement. They plan to design the reusable Starship spacecraft. It is capable of transporting large numbers of passengers and cargo on long-haul flights. It can land vertically on Earth as well as on other celestial bodies in space. The prototypes of the Starship landing craft are currently being tested at the Boca Chica facility in Texas. However, it is regrettable that as of now, all 4 prototype versions have exploded. Perhaps SpaceX needs more time to perfect its system. NASA will build a space station called Gateway in the Moon's orbit. The Orion spacecraft, carrying astronauts launched from Earth, will dock with the Gateway space station. Next, the Starship lander will take on the role of the final station. Land the astronauts from the space station onto the lunar surface. Therefore, Gateway Station is considered a transit hub for missions. However, in the early days, when the Gateway Station had not yet been built, the Orion spacecraft can connect directly to Starship. This time, astronauts returning to the Moon could carry out a mission lasting up to a week before boarding the Starship to return to lunar orbit. After that, the Orion spacecraft will bring the astronauts back to Earth. It must be affirmed that this is not merely a project to return humans to the Moon. Artemis is also considered a sustainable platform, paving the way for scientists in the mission to send humans to Mars. Back then, the dream of towering cities on the Red Planet had become a reality. That will likely become a reality soon. Let's wait and see how NASA will carry out this mission. Russia is expected to return to the Moon this year. The race to conquer the Moon is heating up with Russia's participation. As a partner, but also a direct competitor of the United States in the conquest of space. This year, Russia will also launch the Luna 25 spacecraft on a mission to return to the Moon. This is certainly good news for those who admire Russia, the center of the world's space science. According to Mr. Zelensky, the scientific advisor of the Russian Space Research Institute, the Moon will be the focus of our program for the next decade. Half a century ago, the Soviet Union achieved significant milestones in the race to conquer the Moon. But once again, human presence on the Moon was absent. This must remain an endless regret and longing for those who cherish Russian science. So after 50 years, will Russia succeed in returning humans to the Moon this time? Unfortunately, the answer still cannot be changed. Russia's next Moon plan uses only robots. The Luna 25 mission is scheduled to launch this October, marking the beginning of its journey. That means there are only about 5 months left together. Currently, the Luna 25 spacecraft is in the final stages of assembly and testing before launch. Although the ship could not carry the astronauts to the Moon. However, this will mark a new beginning after a 45-year hiatus in Russia's space science industry. The spacecraft is expected to land in the Moon's south polar region. The region considered the coldest in the solar system, between the eternally existing ice pits. And this is also considered the hottest region on the Moon. It is often a target for many countries. But Luna 25 is only the beginning. This is the first encounter with the Moon in a series of upcoming events. In 2023 or 2024, Russia is expected to launch the Luna 26 spacecraft. This time it is an orbiter, tasked with analyzing the magnetic and gravitational fields of the Moon to evaluate and select potential landing sites. Then, in 2025, the Luna 27 probe will land on the Moon, carrying a robot. It is equipped with drills. They have the capability to collect samples on the Moon in a permanent manner. Following that, the Luna 28 spacecraft will carry out a mission to collect samples on the Moon and return them to Earth. Finally, the Luna 29 spacecraft will deliver a new generation rover to the Moon to explore mysterious areas that remain inaccessible to robots. However, Russia currently has no plans to send humans to the Moon. But with this return, it promises to deliver deeper insights into the Moon, Earth's only natural satellite. Although having only recently joined the space conquest. However, the UAE has also made significant marks. Hope probe successfully entered Mars. This is the first interplanetary mission carried out by an Arab nation. Not stopping there, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, is also planning to launch a lunar exploration robot next year. They will ask Japan to launch that satellite into orbit. This next-generation robot was developed entirely by the United Arab Emirates, UAE. It has a mass of approximately 10 kilograms and is expected to operate in previously unexplored regions of the Moon. This project also marks a significant milestone. It is the first time an Arab country has launched a flight to the Moon. The robot will be launched in 2022 aboard the Ice Bay lander. Japan has decided to select SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket for its upcoming mission. The planned launch site will be a base in the U.S. state of Florida. The United Arab Emirates, UAE, emphasized that launching an exploration rover to the moon is just the initial step in the country's efforts to expand its space sector. This West Asian country is also expected to launch the Rashid Moon Exploration Rover in 2024. And they are also implementing an ambitious project, designing a settlement on Mars by 2117. Let's wait and see how this West Asian nation will bring these ambitious projects to life. China and Russia are cooperating to build a base on the moon. On February 12, 2021, the Russian Prime Minister requested the Russian space agency, Roscosmos, to sign a memorandum with China on cooperating to build an international lunar research station. As of March 9, the two parties have officially signed a memorandum of understanding. Accordingly, the International Lunar Science Station is designed as a complex of scientific research and testing facilities, intended for long-term operation. It is built on the surface or in the orbit of the moon. In addition, this research station also opens up opportunities for collaboration with international partners and interested countries. According to sources from China, the two countries China and Russia will jointly develop a roadmap for a space station within the framework of their bilateral cooperation. To achieve the highest efficiency, close coordination is required in the stages of planning, design, research, and operation. Of course, the project details have not yet been disclosed, and it is one of the projects that the scientific community is particularly interested in. It is hoped that all future lunar exploration projects will succeed, thereby propelling humanity further on its journey to explore and conquer the cosmos. So today, Tot2V has explored future plans to conquer the moon with all of you. Which plan impressed you the most? Please share your thoughts by commenting below the video. I hope you all have a truly relaxing and enjoyable time with this video. And now, please select a video on the left or right side of the screen to join Tot2V in exploring more mysteries of the universe. See everyone in the upcoming videos. Goodbye, everyone.